I ready?
Change your heart to a little white dove. More than a feeling, that's the power of love. Tougher than diamonds, rich like
The
cream.
best 60 minutes of your day, the Bryan Bulaga Homer Hour, and at Dave & Buster's in Tosa, where we will have our fantasy draft. I can't see the doctor of football as much of a fantasy guy. That's just a speculation. I think it's too much time for the benefit. That's my belief on what the doctor of football, Bryan Bulaga, will say. Has he been in a fantasy league? I will go less than 5 in his life. Joining us now is the doctor of football, and we'll find out if my predictions are accurate. Doc?
We doing?
We're doing fine. I speculated on your participation in fantasy football. I said I thought it was very low, and that in your life, unless you're being paid to do something, you have been in less than 5 fantasy football leagues.
You are
Am
correct.
I right?
You are correct.
Wow. Good.
I just haven't. I mean, I've been in about 2 of them that I can recall. About
It's not
2
worth
of them.
your time.
Yeah, I just can't get into them. For some reason, I just can't get into them. And I find myself like forgetting to set lineups and not paying attention to guys injured on other teams. Like it just, I find myself just like never opening the app and then on game day seeing I'm down by 50 points because I have 3 guys starting that are on the bench or are hurt
I know,
or something.
I know I can help you out, but you'll never do this. Just like you won't listen to me and get your college degree, which, by the way, I've come to your side.
Well, thank you.
There's really no reason for you to do it. I'm pretty comfortable. Your kids know the importance of education, and if they said that they could make whatever amount you made with no college education, you would be supportive of that to do what you did, if they could do it. If not, get your degree.
Absolutely.
How close am I on that?
You're good on that. I think that's a good take. I like that. I'm all for that. I'm there. And listen, hey, it would be great if I had that desire to go back. And I'm not against anyone that does. But for me, at this point in time in my life, I just don't see it as a good fit for me right now.
Yeah, you would need a new interest. Like if you decided that you wanted to become a minister, then you'd have to go back to college for theology or something. If you wanted to decide, you know what? I think accountants might be the smartest people in the world. I mean, Homer's an accountant. Craig Counseling. Maybe I should become an accountant and challenge myself. It'd have to be something like that. All right, where were we back on fantasy? No, here's what you needed to do. I don't know if this is your style. You just had to get a fantasy football guy. People want Bryan Bulaga to be in the league. Well, you participate, but you have your guy who takes care of that stuff. Like, on the draft, I want this guy, and then for that week-to-week stuff, you have somebody else do it. They check in with you periodically, and you can give your input, but then you're in a league. Bryan Bulaga's in a league, but you really don't have to do any more than what you want to. I, just so you know, would not be that guy because I am looking for my guy. I have about the same much of interest in fantasy football. But I get it. I was involved in fantasy baseball at the very beginning, so it's just there's enough interest that I have in the game with the Packers and following them and the competition that I don't need fantasy football to add extra juice.
I agree. I agree. And the thing is, like, I don't know who I would have be my guy. I mean, I don't think. I don't even know who I would ask for that. But, like, to me,
no, yeah,
there's enough.
Just be like a friend of yours. You have somebody, if you let the word out, a friend of yours that is into fantasy, you'd say, okay,
yeah,
I need you to do my league so that.
You're probably right. I don't know. It just doesn't interest me enough now. And I get it. Listen, what fantasy football has done for the casual fan and for the league in general is tremendous. Like how much attention it's brought and how people are literally watching a single game to see their final fantasy guy if he gets them enough points. Like, it's incredible. So I understand the impact on the game. But
they become smarter fans, too. I think there's no doubt.
Yeah.
You have a knowledge of so many more players than you would normally.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just, kind of like you, I get enough out of kind of watching the Packers and who the Packers play and everything like that, that kind of fulfills that for me, and that's how I pay attention to the game. And, like, listen, I watch other games besides the Packers,
right.
But, you know, I get enough from just kind of dialing into those games that I watch that I don't need the fantasy for it, which, hey, it's some people love it, some people don't. That's the way it goes.
Yep. And, in fact, our fantasy football draft, we had it for a while, and then I don't think we didn't have one the last couple of years, and we have one at Dave & Buster's in Tosa in Milwaukee, and they've really changed their area. I don't know what this was, but they have these huge screens that are just fantastic in terms of the players are like Potawatomi is one like 2,000 square feet or something. I don't know what they have. And this one is huge. The players are literally human size. The screens are so big. So we'll be doing that later on. And, in fact, we need more players. You know, there are a couple people they let in. They're probably Bears fans, and they changed their mind at the last minute. So need like 8 more players. The draft, Pebble, it starts at 7, I think. 6:30 or 7, I don't know. All right, but anyway, 1-800-990-3776. If you want to come by and be in a league, we don't know which one you're going to be in, but there's a need for 8 more players. So call Pebble. Pebble, when you get 8, you're done, or whatever you get. This way you won't have too many people. But I'm pretty comfortable. You're one of the 8. You can come down here, and it'll probably take an hour and a half or 2. And if you, Pebble, tell me if I can do this. If you are one of the 8, I will get you either a Bryan Bulaga signed 8.5 by 11 or a Mark Tauscher signed 8.5 to 11. You decide which you want to have, and then I'll be able to judge which one the fans are mad at. And I actually haven't asked either player, but I'm pretty comfortable that I can get it signed even if they don't know that's what it's for. But, Doc, you'll be okay, right? I don't know how many it's going to be. It might be 0. If all 8 pick Mark Tauscher, you don't have to sign any.
Yeah, it's easy. At least the offer was out there, though. I mean, that's the thing.
Now, I would like you put on yours, Bryan Bulaga, future Packer Hall of Famer. Would you do that?
I don't think I would.
No. I know you won't. So. I know. I would have been shocked if you said yes. No, we'll. I'm not guaranteeing that you get a new one when he gets into the Hall of Fame because I haven't figured out when that's going to be. All right. Again, the fantasy draft here at Dave & Buster's. Need 8 people. You have to be here. I was told, by 6. I can't believe that it has to be by 6. We don't start till 6:30. But 1-800-990-3776. The first 8, and then tell me whether for doing and helping us out. If, in fact, you show up. If you don't show up, you're not getting any autographed 8.5 by 11 from anybody. Oh, no, wait. We'll have to do it 3 ways. Pebble, I'm really disappointed you didn't think of this. A 8.5 by 11 signed either by Bryan Bulaga, Mark Tauscher, or what should the third choice be, Pebble?
You.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
I'd say you.
Then the people that pick me, I can help them get into a mental institution. I know some people. I can get it probably at a lower price. Anybody would pick me over. My mom wouldn't even pick me. My kids would not pick me. My wife would not. I should ask her who she would pick. She probably doesn't know you well enough yet, or have you? But, yeah, she wouldn't. She doesn't even listen to the damn show. Never has. All right. 1-800-990-3776. Talking with the Dr. Football, Bryan Bulaga, and I have stated, and I'm going to have to take what you say as fact, but I have said that training camp is a joke. I don't think it's tough. I don't think they train much. I think it's just whatever they set up because of the union, and as a result, everybody accepts the fact that the players are not ready for the start of the regular season. They struggle the quality of play the first couple of weeks, but that's how they want to do it. But that is my opinion, and I have limited knowledge, and I don't want it to be based on who the coach is. It's like across the league. And I think you, given the years that you played, saw the change as a result of the league and not necessarily the coach. First of all, before we get to what the truth is, Homer, would you agree with that? You lived through the change. Is that accurate?
Yeah, absolutely. I did from my rookie year to my last. Yeah, I experienced a bunch of different rules from year 1 to year 12 on how training camps were operated, essentially.
All right, year 1 was what year?
2010. That was the last year of two-a-days.
The league said no more two-a-days. They decided it?
Yeah, that was the CBA. That was bargain. Because that was the.
Do you think? How did coaches cheat that wanted two-a-days but couldn't get two-a-days? Did you have fake two-a-days or did they just accept it?
No, they accepted it. But what you early on after 2010, the practices were all 3 hours. Like they maxed out every minute of the practice. So you would be on the field for full amount, and then you would have, which wasn't cheating, it was allowed a long walkthrough on the field. So it would be an hour or hour and some change of walkthrough at night or in the evening, and kind of that's the way they did it. And then you'd even be in the building even longer because they took away that on-field time. So coaches feel like they had to make it up somewhere else. So they'd make it up in the meeting room. So you would be in the building till 9, sometimes 9:30 at night, all football. So they didn't get it on the field, but they got it somewhere else through walkthroughs or meetings some way, somehow.
All right, when they had the two-a-days, each of the two-a-days would be like 2 hours, because then you said instead of that, they had the 3-hour practice and the long walkthrough. So I added up to like 4.5 hours. Does that mean when you had the two-a-days, they combined for about 4.5 hours?
Yeah, just about. It was about 4.5 hours of practice, yeah.
So that time was the same, but then the time in the building was longer. So that you may have actually, after they dropped the two-a-days, starting in 2011, is it possible that you were actually in the building longer per day, or is that potentially too far?
No, potentially, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's not stretching it. There's a good chance of that. Because obviously in 2011, that was the first year they took away double days. So coaches didn't really know how to wrap their brain around that. You know what I mean? They've been doing 2 days forever, and that's how they were brought into the league as coaches and potentially even players. So that's all they knew were 2 days. So how to adjust from that schedule was something they all had to kind of figure out. And in their brains, well, if they're not on the field, they need to at least be in the classroom and in the building longer, studying football, talking football, everything. So that's what we did. I mean, they were long days. And the practices were, we maxed out all the practices. I mean, I remember 2011 in Green Bay. I mean, we were on the field all of 3 hours. Every minute we were allowed to be there, we were there. And that's the way it was.
So my theory that it wasn't as tough, there's some truth to that in terms of the practice time, because you, even doing that, you were an hour plus less.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you got to look at it. I mean, you look at coaches and the way they think about it. They may have taken an hour or some time away on the field, but what the workload that was within the practice in the 3 hours was a lot, right? So it was pedal to the metal.
I don't know.
Practices.
I'm listening.
Yeah, no, the practices were pedal to the metal for 3 straight
more
hours.
Intense.
Yeah, way more intense. And you're doing something straight for 3 hours, where when you had the double days, I mean, there were some days that the morning practice was way more individual, not as heavy contact, little more instructional because it was younger guys. When I was a rookie, McCarthy had the younger guys doing the 2-a-day. So the younger guys were there in the morning putting pads on. Probably year 5 and down did the 2-a-days. So, there was a lot more teaching and instruction. Yeah, there was hitting and contact and everything, but it was more informational for the young guys to kind of grasp around. Then the night practices, when everybody was there, was very high intensity, lots of hitting, lots of teamwork, and it was different. But when they went to that 3-hour structure and only one practice, it was pedal to the metal, like all gas. And they were hard practices, man. Very, very intense. Lots of hitting, not a lot of break time, and you were just rolling. And they were hard practices. I'll say Coach McCarthy ran a tough camp. It was a tough camp, and it was a mental grind to get through those camps. I will say that.
So my statement that it's a joke was certainly not the case when they changed to fewer practices 2010 to 2011. So I'm just wrong. It was clearly about the same, though in a different framework. For how many years? Was it that way all the way through the end of your career?
No, because they changed the rules again after the other CBA. So rules were getting changed throughout. They were being amended through that first CBA that I lived through, right? So from 2011 to 2020, through that 10 years, the rules were being changed for camp throughout it. And it got easier as we moved on. Break times, how many padded days, how long you could be on the field. It got easier as I got older, which was great. But what you stated, it affected the play in week one. And it has continued to do that. And
you got to practice football, not sit in a classroom and read a book. If I would be capable of doing the practice, then it's a joke. And I don't know. All right, so 2020, yeah. Right? I mean, I don't know. Don't you need to play football? What's the truth of that before you get in the game?
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to go through the rigors of it and get your body football ready. And that's heavy contact for about 2-3 weeks. That's what you need to get ready, at least for me, for an NFL season, is 3 weeks of heavy contact and back off and get guys fresh for week one. And I feel that Matt LaFleur, my 1 year with him, did a great job with that. His first training camp, we were only on the field for max 2 hours, but we did a lot of work in that 2 hours. And he went pretty hard on us for those first 2 to 3 weeks. And then we started to taper off and get guys game ready. So LaFleur runs a good camp. It's very well run. It's smart. He's very scientific with it on getting guys prepared. He listens to the trainers. He listens to the veterans of the team. So he puts on a really good camp for guys. So I feel like the guys really appreciate what they're going through in Green Bay because he does do a good job of when to ramp it up and when to back off. And to me, as a player, that's all you can look for.
Again, fantasy football coming up here at Dave & Buster's. They got fabulous screens. I don't know how many square feet. I'm going to have to check that. And, Pebble, do we have any players that have called, or have we failed to this point?
We have not got anybody to call yet, Homer.
All right, the first day to call, you need to be here by 6 or 6:30, Dave & Buster's in Tosa, because there'll be a few people needed for the league. It's not going to go that long. Call Pebble, 1-800-990-3776. And if you, in fact, show up, you will get a choice of either an autographed frame picture of Bryan Bulaga, Mark Tauscher, or me. More questions that I have for Bryan Bulaga about training camp. Is it as easy as I claim? Part 2 next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on 94.5 ESPN.
We've got southbound on 94 right in the Mitchell interchange. Looks like we've got a broken down vehicle that they may have to close off some lanes, so just be prepared for some backups through there. We did have an earlier disabled vehicle on westbound 94 at about 28th Street. That actually has been taken off the freeway, so things are still heavy out of the Marquette, but they're getting a little bit better. It's heavy all the way to about Mitchell Boulevard. Westbound 894 right about at 60th Street. Looks like we've got a crash off on the right shoulder. Looks like cars are able to get past it without too much of an issue, so that's good news. Southbound 41, got that heavy pocket of traffic from before Silver Spring all the way down past Capitol Drive. Traffic is brought to you by Great Lakes Dragaway, a quarter-mile-long drag strip plus a drift pad. Even drive your own car on the track. Find full event schedules and ticket information at greatlakesdragaway.com. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, mainly clear, a low of 61. Tomorrow, sunny and nice, a high of 78. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga, 94.5 ESPN.
Weather is brought to you by Good Health Saunas. Get your in-home infrared sauna today. Great for post-workout detoxing, skin rejuvenation, back relief, and flexibility. Plus, more energy from better sleep. GoodHealthSaunas.com.
The Homer Hour with special guests every day from 5 to 6.
You still had a cigarette lighter in there.
No, we should all be dead.
An ashtray.
They have they have the station wagons where the people in the back were facing the other direction.
The Homer Hour with Homer.
The Packers got more money than God, so there's in the NFL there's no shortage. Yes, we need fundamentally in the NFL, anything Detroit does, you just assume you can do it better.
Weekdays from 5 to 6, right here on 94.5 ESPN and streaming live on YouTube.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
The Big Slide, barns and barns of animals, and all that food on a stick. State Fair is one of the biggest events of the summer, and we'd like to send you there. Compliments of Discount Liquor. Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. Purchase any one case 30-pack cans of Miller High Life or any one 12-pack Leinenkugel craft beer and receive one free State Fair ticket, all while supplies last. But don't delay. Tickets go quickly. And I know you don't want to miss the bacon-wrapped bacon. Visit us today at 51st in Oklahoma and Milwaukee and on Barstow and Main in downtown Waukesha. Discount Liquor, voted best liquor store in Milwaukee again. See us this week for your free Wisconsin State Fair ticket.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
And visit us online at discountliquorinc.com.
They say seeing is believing, and when you see what's inside at American Place Casino, you better believe you're gonna love it. Because when it comes to amazing gaming, we're a real game changer. With the most exciting of table games like blackjack, craps, and roulette, the newest slots, a sportsbook, restaurants, bars, and more. So if you're ready for excitement, we'll see you soon. American Place Casino. Change the game.
Must be 21 years of age or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher, and summer is here. But if you want your parking lots and asphalt to be ready for winter, you have to remember the 3 R's from Johnson & Sons Paving. Reseal every 2 to 3 years. Repair when you see signs of cracking or potholes. And replace if there's constant standing water, buckling, or sinking. Don't scare customers or tenants away because of a bad parking lot. Connect with Johnson & Sons today before minor repairs end up being huge headaches. Schedule an appointment at johnsonsonspaving.com.
Baseball, grilling, festivals, tan lines, and Saz's. Summer in Wisconsin is the finest, and Saz's Statehouse is the place to be. They've been a Milwaukee staple for almost 50 years, so they know a thing or two about summer fun. Enjoy handcrafted cocktails, festival-famous combo platters on Saz's outdoor patio, or cool off with your friends at their famous round bar. Saz's complimentary shuttles are ready to take you to games and concerts at AmFam Field. Get details at saz's.com, located at 55th and State. See you at Saz's.
This is the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
At Dave & Buster's, where we'll have our fantasy draft. That's Dave & Buster's in Tosa. And we need a few players. Some people said they were going to be here and they weren't. You need to be here sometime, I think, by 6:30. 1-800-990-3776. They will automatically put you in a league. And then you get if you actually show up and do it, you get a choice between an autographed photo, framed, signed, not framed, I don't know, signed photo, either of Bryan Bulaga, Mark Tauscher, or me. I'm also thinking, since I'd like to have a guy do it for me, I randomly will pick the first person who calls Pebble. You can be my draft guy. You can make the picks for me, and in return for that, you get nothing, absolutely nothing. Doc, maybe I should charge him. I'm going to charge him. Can I do this, Pebble? $10. If you decide to come here, I can't.
No,
okay,
you can't do that.
When you get here, I'm not on the air saying I'm charging you $10, but
you're saying it right now.
But no, I can't say. You just said I can't say it.
Just did.
I know, but you said, well, no, now I can't. I said I can't tell him it costs him $10, right? Right? You just said that.
Right.
So, if you called Pebble 1-800-990-3776 to be my draft selector for the draft at Dave & Buster's in Tosa, then it would be nice if you were kind and you I don't know. I can't tell him it's $10. With Bryan Bulaga, the doctor of football. Bryan, don't you think I should be able to charge $10 for someone to be the draft selector for Homer's draft team? Right?
You want someone to pay you to select your team.
Yeah, I'm letting them do it. They get to be around me. Okay, what are you laughing? It's like that funny. So I played in the AmFam. Someone was very nice. I got to play with Ernie Els. And I said, Ernie, we got a charity event on Monday. I'd like you to come and play. He goes, I got family. I go, come on, Ernie. Everybody says family. Come on, you're done here on Sunday. You come by. It's a great charity. Camp One Step. Kids that have cancer that survive then become counselors for the new kids that have cancer. It's just unbelievable. Camp One Step. He goes, I can't. The caddy comes over and says, you don't know. I said, I don't know what. You don't want Ernie. Of course I want Ernie. Who wouldn't love to have Ernie Els? It's $400,000 to get Ernie Els to come. Yeah. I said, well, I'm not paying a damn penny. I want him to come because he cares. He says, wow. I said, that seems like a lot. He said, well, it used to be $200,000. I said, oh, I get it now. He says, what do you mean? He says, I know why I made it $400,000. He didn't want to do it.
Yeah, the guy goes, he wants to outprice it.
Yes, and if they're willing to pay $400, hell yes, I'll show up and fiddle and diddle for a few hours. So, if though I can't do it on the radio, if Ernie Els can charge $400,000, I think I can hope, wink, wink, that someone would give me $10 to be my person at. And if you're fearful that there'll be a ton of people, then you better call Chris Pebble. But if you're not worried that anybody else would do it, you can just show up at 6:30 and say, Homer, I'm your guy or gal. 1-800-990-3776. They still need about 8 people to fill spots. And
we're down to 7 now, Homer. We just had one person call.
Yeah, we got one. We're down to 7. Now, what you do if you were lying, because I was definitely the way I did it as a producer, when they'd say caller 10, and I'd never take any more than 2. The second caller was always caller 10. Anyway, we could say, hey, we got 7. We got room for only 1 more. They don't know that there are 5 other people. But we're not doing that. Pebble is a man of some integrity. I, on the other hand, would say, yeah, we've got 7. We need 1 more. Just 1 more. Hopefully I'll get 3 more. But we got 1. We got 7 to go. 1-800-990-3776. I didn't want to get sidetracked because there's some real facts that only the doctor of football, Bryan Bulaga, can give us, where I said that I think training camp is a joke because they don't do anything. And everybody in the league talks about how the teams aren't ready. They don't practice enough football. And I'm sorry. You have to be in the classroom and the complicated systems and what they do. Yeah, but you got to play. You're in any sport. You start practice, you play basketball, football, baseball, anything. And I don't know how much they actually play during training camp. Now, forcing me to have some level of accuracy, I go to the doctor of football. In terms of practicing football, what percent is it compared to when you started in 2010? And while you haven't been in training camp in a couple of years, I'm sure your players tell you. And what's the reality of playing football, practicing football?
I mean, they are doing a lot less than what I remember doing, especially my first 4 or 5 years of camp. It's probably down. Time on the field and everything like that is probably over at least 40%, I would imagine, on field time, which is quite a bit, and which is why we see the place suffer early on in the season. With that, the league and the Player Association has looked at player safety and getting guys to week one healthy and getting superstars to week one healthy, because that's what people want to see is the superstars on the field come week one. But with that, the play suffers, and we see sloppy ball through the first 3 weeks of the season, which nobody likes, but it's part of the reality now. And if they add the 18th game, the training camp rules are going to become even worse or more lax for players, so to speak. And there'll be another change to that. So the more games we add, the more training camp gets kind of tampered down from an intensity standpoint, because that's a lot of football over how many weeks. But it's not so much the time on the field, it's what happens when they're on the field. And I think you've seen a trend over the last probably 4 or 5 years of practices being dialed back tremendously of what they used to be, just from the pure contact, the hitting, the one-on-one type drills, or the 3-on-3 for the linemen where, you know, two linemen and a linebacker and 3 offensive linemen. That was something we did with McCarthy almost every day, blocks drill. And it was very intense, very physical, very downhill in your face type football. And I don't think that gets done anymore. And because, yes, there's a lot of risk for injury in it and guys get beat up on it, but it got you ready. It got you ready for a physical game. And it was a, what do they call it? A phone booth type drill where everything happens in very confined space and it's very physical and it's like a phone booth fight. You look back on it, was it good for you? Probably not, but did it make you ready for week one? Yeah, you were ready. You were ready for contact. So it's just those type of things that aren't done anymore that hamper guys going into week one. And yes, the science behind it tells you, yeah, don't do that stuff anymore. That's bad. But then we get to week one and guys aren't ready yet. And that's the problem we see in today's NFL.
Are they at risk to more likely get hurt, or is that just made up based on people seeing how much training camp has changed? Do you think there's any truth to that or not really?
I mean, listen, if they stayed doing those training camp practices that I was brought into the league on, yes. Because the player has gotten bigger and stronger and faster since I got into the NFL. So if you continue at that rate to do those types of drills and those types of practices, guys are more likely to get hurt. The athlete has changed tremendously since I got in the league till now. I have no problem admitting that. That they're bigger and stronger and faster, and the game has changed. And it'll continue to change over time. And when it changes over time, you do have to adjust rules and kind of how you do things. But I still think there's a way that these NFL teams and coaches can get guys ready in those first 2 to 3 weeks of camp. And I don't mean just kill them on the field where they're just beating the hell out of each other and they can't even go on the 3rd week of camp. But there's a way to do it to get these guys ready in short spurts throughout practices of high intensity and physical drills throughout a 3-week span that get them ready for week one. And I think a lot of coaches are scared to get marquee guys injured, and they just don't do it. They'd rather just do a team drill, let guys get their work in there and move on. And listen, I understand both sides of it, but at the same time, we see a poor product for 2 or 3 weeks. And that's all because of what happens in camp.
Talking with the doctor of football, Bryan Bulaga. Yes, I say training camp is a joke. What I say doesn't matter when you hear the doctor explain it. Here's what I want. We'll take a break and come back for the third. I want Bryan Bulaga to be put in charge by the NFL over the rules for training camp. We'll see what he would do next.
The Homer Hour is back after this on 94.5 ESPN.
Seeing some slowdowns along 41 southbound from just before Silver Spring all the way down past Capitol Drive. Northbound's backing up around North Avenue all the way up past Burleigh. Westbound on 94, we've got backups from about 20th Street all the way through to Mitchell Boulevard. Back on the brakes from the county line into Waukesha County in pockets all the way to about Highway 18. Eastbound 94, we've got some backups as well, just east of 84th Street all the way through the Stadium interchange. Traffic is brought to you by Johnson & Sons Paving. Follow the 3 R's of asphalt maintenance to avoid minor issues becoming huge headaches. Reseal, repair, and replace. Learn more at johnsonsonspaving.com. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, mainly clear, a low of 61. Tomorrow, sunny and nice, a high of 78. Weather's brought to you by the Bud Pavilion's live music at Wisconsin State Fair. 33 local cover bands over 11 days. Tonight, for opening night, it's Chase & Mason starting at 7:30 inside the Bud Pavilion. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat with Freddie Coleman.
Well, she did it again. The she I'm talking about, Katie Ledecky, the greatest women's swimmer ever. Period. End of story. Don't fight me on it. You're going to lose that battle. Oh, she got into her discipline, 1,500 meters. And once again, the field had no chance. You could have put a shark in that pool in Paris last night, and the shark would have lost to Katie Ledecky. But for me, the best part about her win, once again, doing it in her favorite discipline, and she has the 800 meters later on this week, another favorite discipline of hers, was the fact that she rewarded everybody that was a part of her journey. Her parents, her coaches, her teammates, her friends. Even she said, I know I've been hard on you guys. I really appreciate you putting up with me and getting me to this level once again, winning my 8th gold medal. Humility is always wonderful in sports, but that kind of humility you can't put a price on. I don't know when it's going to end for Katie Ledecky, but when it does end, there are a lot of people that can say we had a lot to do with that, and they would not be wrong because Katie Ledecky said so. In 60 seconds, USA basketball perspective from Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics.
It would be the best story, not only in tennis, but maybe in sports.
We were just 2 young black girls playing in Compton. This is not normally how that story goes. I looked different. I played different. I was more emotional. I was better. I was stronger. I had muscles. I was something that no one had ever seen before, ever.
Stream the ESPN Plus original series, In the Arena, Serena Williams, presented by Morgan Stanley, now on ESPN Plus.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
So Jason Tatum didn't play Sunday versus Serbia, and plenty of people were saying he was disrespected by Steve Kerr, the Olympic basketball head coach. Well, then Jason Tatum returned to the lineup in their win over South Sudan on Wednesday, 103-86. And I love what he had to say about that perspective. He said, it's not about me. I'm not going to make me the main story here. Everybody has to sacrifice. It was my turn, so be it. But I know what the goal is, and that is to win a gold medal, and guys are going to have to do things and be very humbled by this experience. And yes, I'm paraphrasing as far as that goes. Isn't it amazing that sometimes the people that we connect with are the ones that understand exactly what the mission is all about? And Jason Tatum made it crystal clear. I sat in Game 1 versus Serbia. So what? If we win a gold medal, nobody be talking about that. And nobody should if that happens for USA basketball. For the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Freddie Coleman.
You're listening to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
At Dave & Buster's in Tulsa, where we will have our fantasy draft. A couple players still needed. 1-800-990-3776. Call Pebble and tell him we have a couple, right?
We have one as of right now.
One, yeah. Somebody else said they could do it, but they couldn't be here. Yeah, you could have someone else go, but that person, you kind of become the team. And then, of course, I didn't mean to go in this direction, but because I feel like such a loser. Like if Bryan Bulaga said, yeah, I'm going to be here for the draft, and I need one to say picks, and maybe you could give me $10, even if that's not allowed. Hell yes, I'd give $10. I'd even give $20 for Bryan Bulaga. For Mark Tauscher, a punter's only going to get 10. Place kicker maybe 15. So 1-800-990-3776. I've been told I'm not allowed to say you got to pay to be my guy picking Dave & Buster's, but you're not getting anything from me. So best I can tell you is you're going to come here and tell the world I made the pick for Homer in his league, and then we'll see how they do. I'm very good as an owner. I don't hold you responsible. I generally would blame me for thinking that a listener of the show would be smarter than whoever picked it. So you don't risk anything other than if you're willing to give me something because you're so honored. All right, Bryan Bulaga, who would you pay if you could make their picks in a fantasy football league?
Who would I pay to make their picks?
Yeah, like if like if the president asked me to make his picks, I'd give him $10. If if Kirk Ferentz said, Bryan, I want you to make my picks, you'd be willing to give him $10 for the honor to do that, right?
You know what? I don't think it's an honor to make somebody's picks. I don't know.
Right.
Like, I guess
clearly not for you.
I guess I don't see that as like.
But it's an honor to me to be around somebody. You know you're going to be around them. You're going to chat with them once in a while during the football season. So you're, who would you like to have a little communication with over the course of the season? Only if it was just short chats about your fantasy football league. I don't know who I'd want to. That's a hard question. There's nobody in the world you wouldn't like to communicate with a little bit? Wow.
I mean, I think
got a great life.
I mean, I think it'd be cool to maybe, like, I would pick for like Tiger Woods. But I wouldn't.
There we
Tiger
go. Now
Woods.
we're talking. Yeah, Tiger Woods, good choice.
But like, if I could make Tiger Woods picks and get to talk to him once every month about his fantasy team, for sure, I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
I think
I'd do
really
Michael
cool.
Jordan's good. Now it got me. And I do Michael Jordan. I'd be happy to. I'd give him $20.
I still don't know if I would pay them. I don't know if I'd pay him. First of all,
anyway.
Michael Jordan nor Tiger Woods needs $20.
Yeah, but no, it's kind of the principle of the whole thing. All right, Fisco Auto Body. It's a family business owned since 1931. It's not what they do. It's who they are, so that's why they're so good. They've been doing it so long. On Forest Home in Franklin, I don't give it enough. On Forest Home in Franklin, here's how it works. If you listen to me and you go there, you'll be so happy. You got an auto body place forever, the best. They do it fast, they do it well, and then you'll thank me. My reputation is helped because of telling people about Fisco, because of how good they are. Should you care about that? Not really, but I do, and I admit that's part of the deal. Fisco Auto Body on Forest Home in Franklin. Fisco, to remember the name. All right, discussing training camp because I said it's a joke. Bryan Bulaga, who's lived it, he kind of agrees, but now I think that they should put you, someone who's experienced different levels of training camp. I got it real clearly. If I was hired, I'd say, Bryan Bulaga said, we need heavy contact for 2 or 3 weeks. Whatever we can determine that is. And after that, then take it from there. But we got to, I don't know, do you do that and then do you do it? How close does it have to be to the start of the regular season? But that would be one rule, the most important, the only rule. We work it from there based on what you've said, as I've heard it. But as Aaron Rodgers said, I don't hear very well. So you are now in charge of the NFL, understanding what's changed because you've lived it, and also believing in the need for something during training camp. How will it start in the NFL next season under the direction of the Doctor of Football, Bryan Bulaga?
So if it were me, I would start off camp like they kind of do now. You have 2 days. Well, I think it's even more now, but I would go a 2-day kind of initiation period where it's just helmets and you're out there for 2 days in just helmets, just like it was in minicamp. And then after that, I would go 3 straight padded practices and then a break. So that's 5 straight days of work and then a day off. And then that's that first week. And then after that, for the next 3 weeks, you're allowed to do a 2-a-day twice in a week. But after that 2-a-day, it needs to be a helmet-only practice. So you can do a 2-a-day on, say, Monday, then a helmet practice, and then however the coach wants to do it, and then what is that? What would that be? On Friday, they could do another two-a-day, and then it's back to that. And they can do that for 3 weeks. And during that time, during the two-a-day period, you can only be on the field for an hour and 45 minutes total. Or not between for each practice. An hour
for each
45.
Practice, all right.
Yes, that's the max you can do. And then for the regular practices, the max you can be on the field is 2 hours, 20 minutes. So that's all practices. But you got to get your work done. And then after, I would say I don't know what the rules are even now, but I would say every 5th day, they need a day off, which is completely out of the building, not even come in for meetings, nothing, a day off. And that's what they do for the first 3 weeks. And then once they get past that first 3 weeks, they can essentially practice every day in pads. Besides, I'd say every 4th day they need to be in helmets so they can be in pads. This is all coach's discretion too. But the rules are set up to allow them to get ready. And then once we're 2 weeks out from the first game, every 3rd day they got to get off. And then that ramps them up till the start of the regular season, and then they go. But those first 3 weeks, they're allowed to get their work in with a two-a-day here and there, and heavy contact to get them prepared for the season.
If I knew somebody important enough, maybe Jason does, or Rob Domowski, we'll put this together and send it and give it to them and let them pass it along to somebody, coach, or maybe somebody in the NFL. Of what you have suggested, how dramatic a change do you think it is to where we show it to somebody and they go, oh, this guy's crazy. I can't believe he's suggesting those things. Or would they go, yeah, it's a little different, but it's not that big a change. Which is the reality at your suggestion versus what goes on now?
Well, I think because of what's going on now, they'd look at me like I'm crazy because I'm kind of trying to revert back to a little bit in the early 2000s where the two-a-days were happening. Now, in the early 2000s, you could have a two-a-day every day almost. You could have two-a-days all throughout camp, and that's just, to me, insane. Like, you should not do that. But I think if you space out 2 days, where you can only do 2 a week, you can only be on the field for so long, so guys aren't just out there killing each other for 2 days, and you limit the time on the field during regular days, during one-a-days, guys can get their work in those first 3 weeks. I get it. It is completely – and the next thing is they got to be out of the building every day. They're out of the building by 8 o'clock every day. You can't keep them after 8 o'clock. They're gone. They got to go home.
Wow.
So they can get their sleep, get their rest, be with their families, whatever it is. They're out of the building by 8 o'clock.
How many days were you out of the building by 8? Never?
Not many. Not many at all. We'll just put it that way. Not many.
We'll never do anything with the potential historic importance of Bryan Bulaga's training camp. 4th quarter next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on 94.5 ESPN. The Packers have their franchise QB all locked up.
You know, the Packers putting their trust and their faith in me. It's something that I'm focused on earning every day and going out and putting my best foot forward, chasing that goal of winning a Super Bowl.
Jordan Love has agreed to a game-changing extension.
We saw it. The overwhelming ability to throw the ball, move, athleticism, all that stuff was apparent right away.
React to all things green and gold and Jordan Love right here. 94.5 ESPN and streaming at ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Explosive red, white, and blue savings are going on now. Exclusively at the Kunis Auto Group's Freedom to Save sales event. From the Patriot Pros at your nearby Milwaukee Metro Region Kunis Auto Group dealership. America's best-selling cars, trucks, and SUVs from both Buick and GMC. All marked down with July Freedom to Save discounts and savings. We're also offering incredible Freedom to Save discounts on our entire inventory of select pre-owned vehicles. Choose from over 1,500 vehicles online and online. Check out dozens of July Freedom to Save service specials on everything from brakes, tires to oil changes. Plus in July, with any newer pre-owned test drive, you'll get a free windshield auto shade to protect your car's interior from summer heat. All at your nearby Milwaukee Metro Region Kunis Auto Group dealerships in both Oak Creek and Greenfield. It's the Cunis Auto Group's exclusive July Freedom to Save sales event going on now. For additional event info, go to shopcunis.com.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman here for Carbless, my go-to drink this summer. Handcrafted right here in Wisconsin, Carbless is a ready-to-drink vodka and tequila cocktail. Perfect for hanging out on the patio by the grill, chilling on the lake, or tailgating at the Brewers game. Plus, it's got 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 0 gluten, and just 100 calories. All summer, make sure you're following Carbless on Instagram at Drink Carbless for your chance to win a Summer Bliss prize package. Find Carbless online and at retailers near you. Carbless. Liss is more.
True Chicago-style pizza is thin, crispy, and cut into squares. And thanks to Connie's Frozen Pizza, you can enjoy a true slice of the city. You'll enjoy it so much you won't even mind where it comes from. Connie's Frozen Pizzas are made from the same cornmeal crust Connie's has been serving for over 60 years. They're perfectly cheesy, perfectly saucy, and they're exactly what you crave. Get to know the true Chicago style with Connie's Frozen Pizza. Born in Chicago, loved by cheeseheads. Available in a freezer aisle near you.
The Saganiac Planning Marquette Basketball Greatest Scorers. Career points is nice, but the best way to judge scoring, points per game. Marquette's top 10 points per game. Number 1, Marcus Howard. Then George Thompson, Dwayne Wade, Jim Jones, and Dean Meminger the top 5. Don Kogis, Mike Moran, Bob Wolf, Terry Rand, and Tom Flynn, the rest of the top 10, got to be above 16 per game to make the list. Over 20 points per game for a career, only Marcus Howard and George Thompson.
After a year of uncertainty, most employers are reluctant to make changes to their health insurance plans. A level funding medical insurance plan may be the answer you've been looking for. Find out how a level funding plan can cut your costs. For more information, call Eric Pearson at Saganiac Planning, 262-783-6161. Eric Pearson, Level Funding. Saganiac Planning, a name synonymous with employee benefits and top-notch service.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Welcome back to the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
At Dave & Buster's. We're having our fantasy draft here. Dave & Buster's in Tosa. Pebble, what's the update on anybody joining? We're short a few people. They had to call you 1-800-990-3776. They need to be here like by 6:30
We've only had one person take us up on our offer so far, Homer.
And anybody willing to come and be my draft selector, knowing they get nothing. Where are we at? 0 still?
Still 0, unfortunately.
That's all right. I can't say I'm surprised. Nobody. This goes all the way back to high school with the girls. People have just not appreciated my greatness. I'm used to it. Do you have a car, boat, ATV, or motorcycle taking up space and storage in your garage? Consider donating to the Rawhide Youth Services, co-founded in 1965 by Bart and Sherry Starr. Yeah, the famous Bart and Sherry Starr. And at the very beginning, they thought, donate vehicles, and it's helped for that many years. Rawhide is a faith-based nonprofit that helps thousands of youth every year, many right here in Milwaukee, overcome trauma, suicidal thoughts, and live better lives. They need used vehicle donations. Your vehicle donation will make a difference. Visit rawhide.org/donate and learn how you can help today. The Bryan Bulaga Monday Homer Hour, historic if the NFL actually, you probably have a better chance than I do. There's some coming here to pick my team for me. But yeah, I can't wait for them to hear. The best part of your training camp versus current training camp, the best change is what, Doc?
From my camp to the current camp?
Yeah. What's the thing about it that you like best and you would push strongest to institute, even if some of the other stuffs you couldn't sell them? You'd go, you got to do this. You got to do this.
I mean, obviously, what time the guys are mandatory to get out of the building would be one. So guys actually get rest and recovery, true rest and recovery. But I still think that having a couple two-a-days here and there throughout camp is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, and I get it that the league has gone so far away from that, and obviously that has trickled down to college and high school now, so no one even does it anymore. And I understand that the bad omen around it and the dark cloud that circles two-a-days, but there's something about it that gets your body physically ready to play an NFL season. It's the rigor of it. It's the grind of it. It's playing when you're sore and your body hurts. It's getting up and performing. And that's what happens throughout an NFL season. You don't feel like doing it. Your body hurts. I get that. But you still have to push through it and get it done and do it at a high level. And that's what the two-a-day does for you. So while there is negatives to it, there's still a lot of positives in my eyes. So, like, it's not doing it every day like they used to do it.
Yeah, you're limiting it for a couple weeks. Yeah. By the way, you said they have to be out of the building at 8. Well, they'll start having them in at 4 in the morning. What's the earliest you could bring them in when you let them and they have to be out at 8?
The practice,
8
the
a.m.?
the earliest the practice can start is 8 a.m.
Okay, so you know, all right, fine. We'll do what Bulaga says. I want you all here at 4 in the morning to start our stuff. Now, so they can't be at the facility more than 12 hours, and your preference is 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Maximum.
Yes.
Doesn't mean it. All right. Now, our Discount Leaguer Twitter poll question: if the Giants tie the Packers, winning 3 straight league championships, which would occur if they do it this year, which is more impressive, what the Packers did in the 60s or what the Chiefs are doing now? What do you say, Doc?
I would probably say the Chiefs right now. The game is so different, and I just feel like winning Super Bowls now is so hard with the parity in the league. There wasn't as much parity when Green Bay was rolling all those off. Like, they had the best players, and it's just not the case anymore in today's game.
And I would also add, I'll go look how many playoff games you have to win a Super Bowl each year. It's just, I think, more. We'll look at that. All right, your vote is the Chiefs now, and I would agree. I think it is tougher now. The league's bigger, more people, and I would say they've had to make more changes than the Packers had to. ESPN National next. Will someone show up and pick my players? Bryan Bulaga, do you think someone will show up knowing I said, I ain't giving you anything? You should be honored to be my draft person. Will anybody show up, Bryan Bulaga?
I wouldn't hold your breath. I'll take that as a no. I hope you're that nice to your kids. When you tell them no, they probably go, yeah, thanks, Dad. We know that's a no. Next, National ESPN.
Westbound 894.